through basically a few different things about speakers. We're just going to do this speaker for now. This is an active monitor. The reason why they're called an active monitor is basically instead of having a separate amplifier, as you have at home, so you've got an amplifier and speakers as a hi-fi. Some people do, some people don't. Basically, active monitors all the way in here. You've got a little amplifier which improves it in some way. You don't get a latency issue, say if you have a really long cable connecting a passive monitor. Passive monitors are the ones which need an amplifier to run them separately. The thing is, you have your amplifier there and you have the speaker current basically here, so there's hardly any distance for the signal to travel. So there's no real time between the actual sound being produced and coming out the speaker, whereas sometimes with passive monitors it will actually take a little bit longer. If you're in a large nightclub, something you're going to have to deal with being a DJ is it will take sometimes up to about maybe half a second for that beat to hit the speaker. That's something you can go into a bit more detail later. That's a bit more technical. Anyway, also while we're here, we'll go into different types of connectors, as we have a few on the back here. RCA connectors, unbalanced. This is basically your phono. As you can see here, this is a beautiful QED cable we've got. Are rather expensive, but they work rather well as well. Phono connector, as you can see, is that shape, fits in the back of here. Phono connectors are basically what you're going to use to connect a lot of your audio equipment. It's the standard sort of connection that you'll get on pretty much everything. Right, unbalanced jack. This is a mono jack. Now, I'll explain a few things about jack. Now, the thing is with jack, if you have this here, this little band here, and just one of them, this means it's just a single channel. Now, that's just one speaker or one channel you mixer. Now, mixers and other audio equipment are stereo, which means you have two channels, but as I say, this one's just one. Now, a few things about this. Sometimes it's called a TRS connector. You may not need to know, it's a bit of general stuff for you to have a listen to. Basically, sometimes it's called a TRS, which means tip ring sleeve. So this is a tip, that's a ring, this is a sleeve. If you ever see TRS in the back of anything, basically it's just referring to a jack, so don't get confused by that. So that might be useful to you. As you can see, put that in there. Other things that we have, I don't actually have one with me, but this is an Xlr Connection. It's a 3-pin connection. You do get this on some higher end audio equipment. You usually see this on like larger end PA systems and more expensive mixers. And right, back onto the speaker. This here, this is basically our frequency level adjust on the back of your speaker. Now, this being a studio monitor, the reason why we have this is because this controls its frequency response. Now, it doesn't matter so much if you're just mixing, but if you're a producer, then the best thing for you to do when you're producing is have everything set to flat. Now, the reason why you have things set to flat when you're producing is because you want your music to be as realistic as you can, actually sound the way that you really want it to without being coloured. If I put, say, a bit of colouring onto it by doing this, what that's going to do is it's going to add something extra onto what's coming out the speaker. Now, this isn't going to be what people are hearing on your mix. This is going to be what you're hearing out the monitor, just to get that clear for you. So if you turn this up, it's not going to make any difference to what you're recording if you are. Right, moving on. This here is basically your sort of volume control. And that's about it for your speaker. We'll just go through a few other things. This is called a tweeter. This creates all the high frequencies which come out of the speaker. And this is your subwoofer, which creates mid-range and the bass. This here is the air hole, which basically releases a lot of the air pressure out of the speaker. Now, this is actually quite important as well. This relates to air pressure level and sound pressure level as well. which is referred to as SPL. That actually does have an effect on the volume of the music, but that's something technical we can go into later as well.